The village of Wyndham, quiet and nestled between rolling hills and a river, had its routines. But that all changed when two souls became neighbors on the village's edge. Elara, a quiet artist known for her somber landscapes, cherished her cottage solitude. She painted from dawn to dusk, finding inspiration in the misty hills and rain-soaked trees, her home as guarded as her heart. Then there was Finn, a wayfarer and adventurer at heart, who had traveled far and wide, clashing completely with Elara's quiet world. Recently returned, Finn had brought stories and artifacts, and his love for life seemed to be a disruption she hadn't wanted. As neighbors, it didn't take long for their personalities to clash. Elara often watched from her window as Finn's laughter echoed down the lane, his hammering and bustling outside breaking her peace. One afternoon, a loud bang jolted her. Frustrated, she marched outside. Finn stood by his fence, hammer in hand. "Must you be so loud?" Elara asked. Finn looked up, surprised, before a grin formed. "Ah, the reclusive artist speaks. Don't tell me you've been listening to every tap." "It's impossible to ignore," she retorted. He chuckled. "Maybe you should try enjoying life instead of hiding from it." Elara narrowed her eyes. "Perhaps you could respect other people's spaces." From that day, their exchanges became brief but full of jabs. To the villagers, it was entertaining. But under the clash, there was a curiosity they shared. Finn would steal glances at her paintings when she wasn't looking, and Elara found herself intrigued by the tales Finn shared by the market. Still, each encounter left them sparring. One evening, a storm rolled in. Elara watched as dark clouds gathered, thunder roaring and lightning illuminating the sky. As rain poured, a figure dashed toward her cottage. A knock sounded, and she opened the door to find Finn, soaked and shivering. "My roof caved in, mind if I wait here?" he asked. Though hesitant, she nodded, letting him in. Finn shook off his coat and looked around her small, cozy space, filled with half-finished paintings, books, and jars of paintbrushes. The fire's glow revealed a side of Elara he hadn't seen. They sat in silence, aware of each other. The storm outside grew fiercer. Elara finally broke the silence. "Why are you really here?" Finn laughed lightly. "Not when my roof's a waterfall. Besides, I figured you'd appreciate some company." Elara scoffed but couldn't hide a faint smile. There are worse people to be stuck with. The minutes stretched as the storm raged on. Finn began sharing tales from his travels of endless deserts under starlit skies, rivers clear as glass, mountains touching clouds. Elara, her skepticism fading, listened. There was warmth in his voice, an unfamiliar love for life and people. After a pause, Finn gestured to her paintings. "Your work, it's beautiful. Why not show it to the world?" Elara shrugged, feeling vulnerable. "It's personal. The world doesn't need to see it. Or maybe you're afraid they won't understand." Finn suggested gently. She looked at him, feeling unexpectedly understood. "I don't see the point in sharing just to be criticized. Art is private, something for yourself." They fell into a comfortable silence. After a moment, Elara asked, "Why do you travel so much? What are you searching for?" Finn's smile faded, his gaze distant. "I'm trying to find something that feels like home. Everywhere I go, I keep hoping to find the one place or person that makes me stay." Their eyes met, and Elara saw the loneliness in him that mirrored hers. Surprising herself, she placed a comforting hand on his. The gesture was brief, but in the firelit room, it spoke volumes. As dawn broke, the storm subsided. Finn rose to leave, but hesitation lingered between them. He looked at her with a newfound softness, no longer the cheerful wanderer but a man who had shared a piece of his heart. "You know, maybe we're not as different as we thought." Elara, once seeing him as a nuisance, now felt a strange ache at the thought of him leaving. "Maybe you're right," she replied, her green eyes reflecting warmth. As he turned to go, he paused. "If you ever get tired of painting shadows, come find me. There's a whole world out there, one you might enjoy." Elara chuckled, blushing. "If you ever feel like staying, maybe you'll find that home isn't as far as you think." They shared a lingering glance, with an unspoken promise, before Finn left. The storm had passed, but something had shifted, leaving them each with a piece of the other's heart. In the days following, Elara noticed herself painting differently, brighter scenes, sunlit paths, skies no longer shrouded in grey. and Finn, who thought he would always roam, found himself lingering in the village, drawn to the quiet cottage and the woman who had shown him a new perspective. Their story became a quiet one, woven into Wyndham's fabric, where under the same sky, they found a connection neither expected nor needed until it was found. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and support us. Your encouragement helps bring more heartfelt stories to life. Thank you for being part of our journey.